Good morning, everyone. Today we're messing around in the blacksmith shop a little bit, making a couple of S hooks for a raffle. Now, S hooks are used to hang pots. They're used to hang flower pots. They're used to hang whatever you want to hang from a hook from above. Now, I happen to have here couple of hooks that I've made that you can pound into a beam. You can have a little more ornate with a twist in a 90 degree, or you can have the shepherd's hook. You can pound this in from the bottom, or you can pound it into the side. Usually drilling a pilot hole is a good idea so you don't split your timbers before you go and pound them in. Now, I've already got the fire started, obviously. I'm working in my very early 1900s Buffalo forge, table forge, with a hand crank blower. This came from a soda bottling plant in Troy, New York. Now we've got a nice heat on this piece here, which is half done already, because there's no sense in sitting here for an hour. Now, when the piece is orange hot like that, it's good to work. You don't want to take it too hot, or you can get the metal too hot and melt it. As you can see, I'm choked up on the handle a little bit for a little more control. And I'm striking away from me. And when you strike away from you like this, it lengthens the metal out and burns you if you don't pay attention. Yeah, perfect. It'll lengthen the metal out into a point. And it takes quite a few heats to do that, because I don't want to overheat it. There's one piece. That's taken right down to a fine point. Now what I'm going to do there is take one of my smaller hammers, and I'm going to tap the end over into almost a circle. It's going to be a semicircle, because I like my pieces to be a little ornate. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a little hook on the end, such as the hook up there. Now we'll take another heat on that piece, making sure the coal covers up the pieces. And when we crank this, I know you can't see the fire, but I look to see where the flame is coming up between the pieces of coal. And then I'll take a piece of coal that's already burned, and I'll put it over top of those little holes where the flame are. That retains the heat better. And it also heats up your metal. Now when I get a larger piece, this isn't really a larger piece, but it's a larger piece of coal that has burned all the impurities out. That's called coke. Coke is the best burning stuff that you want for your fire. I get a piece like this, I'll crunch it up into smaller pieces. And it'll fill those little holes I was talking about where the flame is coming up through. You don't need too much air, just enough to keep it burning, and burning at a consistent temperature. Always keep your hammers handy. Remember, strike away. And keep turning your piece, because you don't want it to get too flat on one side, because then it'll be a real chore to square it up again without folding it over. And you don't want to fold it over, because that produces cracks. And I don't like cracks in my pieces. I'm not even sure what temperature the fire is running at, but when I see blue flame, I know it's really nice and hot. Okay, there we go. Now in order to do this and produce the hook, I tap it around, such as that. And all I have is a piece of round steel in the hardy hole. And then you have your hook. Tap it down a little bit. I like to make sure they're sort of consistent. Tap it flat. So we have a nice even hook. And I'll take it over here on my 1750s anvil. We'll tap it down a little bit more on the round side. And there we go. That's an S hook. And we'll throw it in for another heat. Pushing it in a little further this time. Because now, seeing as how both sides are hooked, I want to do a twist in the middle. Now hopefully you'll be able to see over here. Now that's a post vise. A post vise has a big long leg that reaches down to the ground, making it sturdier. And this one here, actually, if you lift up on the handle, it rides on an arm, or two arms, that'll adjust the width of your jaws. There's little steps on the back of the vise, so it rides up on that and makes it bigger or smaller, whatever you need. Okay. Get a little heat back into them, because every time you take the piece of steel out of the fire, it loses quite a bit of heat when you pound on it. Do a little check. Okay, that one's getting there where I can put the point and put a hook on the other end. Now this fire, it's a nice small fire pot, so all the coal burns really consistent except for the coal around the edges, and that's where I keep the green coal or the unburnt coal, because it burns and it burns the impurities out of it slowly, so you don't get as much smoke. Because I try to be, wary of the neighbors, not wary of the neighbors, but aware of the neighbors with their windows open on a nice day. Let's see. Okay, we'll take this down a little bit more. And now we have a nice little point, just like we did on the other one. I usually like to take my time and not do more than two pieces at once, because I get distracted easily. And I'd rather lose the fire with two pieces in it than lose the fire with four pieces in it, because I'm like a squirrel, shiny things, boom, I'm gone. There, perfect. Take the smaller hammer. Just be careful not to lose the piece. Tap it over the edge. Turn it around 180 degrees. Now with this hammer, doing fine work like that, I don't really have to hammer on it. I can just let the hammer bounce, and the hammer will actually work the steel just on a bounce when it's nice and hot. When the steel is nice and hot, that is. We're getting close to doing a twist on the other one. Okay, now she's nice and orange hot. Hopefully, I hope, I'm going to put it in this vise. Then we're going to take a twist on it. All we do is grab a hold of it with the tongs, and we twist. just like that. And I like to look at it from the side and the front because I want them to be straight. After I get done pounding on it and I start doing the twisting, I do not like to go and hammer on my pieces and put any hammer marks in the twist. And there we have it. There's a nice little twist in it. It's pretty darn straight. So we'll set that aside and we'll let that normalize and cool off while we work on the other one. So pretty much you saw how to heat up and bend metal and beat metal. It's very, it's simple. You just got to keep an eye on your fire. You got to regulate the temperature, keep the temperature consistent, and most important of all, you don't want to let your fire go cold because it's a pain in the butt to reheat everything. And you don't want to overheat your pieces either. Okay, now we have a nice orange color, which is perfect for twisting. Grab a hold of it with the tongs properly and knock it around our makeshift hardy. Square it up. And there we have it. And all I'm going to do is just heat this piece, twist it, and that'll be ready to go out. So that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the little video. Next spring I'm going to have an 18th century forge to use because I'm going to build it over the winter. And I'll be using 18th century anvils to shape metal. So we'll be doing it 100% 18th century next time when I do some forging in the spring. But for the winter, I'll stick with this forge here, and I'll have my lever forge probably up and running another few months. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed the little segment here. Enjoy your weekend. Keep your fires hot, and don't grab on the hot metal. It burns. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.